up, but no, I woke up in the middle of the night. It was exactly at 02:54. What woke me up was this weird breeze that I felt over my body. I assume it just because it was at night, so maybe I could have felt cold, but the breeze was just unsettling. I woke up really scared and shaking when I realized that I was just by the wayside of a graveyard. Immediately I got up, I checked myself. I was perfectly fine, nothing was wrong with me, I was not hit by anyone, I was not robbed, and the money that Mr. Zach gave me was still very, very much intact. Luckily, this graveyard is very close to home, so I just got up and ran over to my house and I started knocking, but there was no one to open the door. I knew my husband was home because I was the only one working in this household. A few minutes later, when the fear was just getting to me, I realized that I still have a key in my bag. I opened the door and rushed to my bedroom to explain to my husband what had just happened to me, but he was not there, so instantly I started to pray. Now, despite my line of work, I'm still very much Christian, but I had always been ashamed to pray until that moment because I realized that was the only help I could have. When I was almost done praying, luckily my husband walked into the room and he could see how restless I was, and he was equally worried and asked me what had just happened. I explained everything and both of us were just spooked out. Anyway, back to business. The following weekend, I did the same routine again, and shockingly, this time I woke up not by the wayside of the graveyard. I actually woke up on a grave. It was always the same graveyard that was just really close to home, and this started to worry me. I spoke to my husband about quitting this job because now we had the business, but he couldn't even bear that. He said as long as when I woke up in the graveyard, I was never harmed. His reasoning apparently was that maybe the wives of the men that I would go out with, one of them maybe got upset and decided to do some sort of juju on me. Anyway, this continued for months and months on end, and it's been 8 months going into 9 months, and this thing is not stopping. Just the other day, when I woke up in the graveyard, I found a group of people surrounding me, and they were looking down at me, saying words that I couldn't understand. Now, on many occasions, I'll try to seek for help, but my husband would always remind me of how embarrassing my job would be, because everyone who would hear my story would have to ask how I found myself there in the first place, hence them knowing exactly what my job is. So I would shy away from help, and the only thing I would do is to talk to my husband about it, and we would pray together and life would move on. But I started to slowly notice that every time I returned home from the graveyard, I would never find my husband in our bedroom. At first, I used to think I was just overthinking, until the other day when I found those people standing over me, and I decided to just investigate further into what was going on with me. I decided to look around the house, and something just told me to look behind the mirror that we had kept in the corner of our house. Behind that mirror, I found what seemed like a shrine. There was a small pot that had a liquid that seemed like blood, but the consistency was not that of blood. And also, if it was blood, I assumed it would have clotted by then. But this substance was still very much in its liquid state. Inside that substance, I saw a doll, like maybe let's say a Barbie doll with long hair. This